So what happens when you stay consistent for 30 days? I've done that with my challenge and the numbers are in, and I'm super excited to actually walk you through. So this is already my second challenge follow-up tracker, and here's my first traffic challenge tracker. So basically, I did focus on increasing the traffic to my school community every single day for now 36 days in a row. But I want to take a look at the last 30 days and what happened basically since then. So here you can see this was the 26th of October, and we had $49,115 MRR, and now we have 58,800 MRR. So I grew. 30 days of consistency brought me $9,764 in monthly recurring revenue net growth after churn. Now, of course, we also need to look a little bit more detailed because I also spend money on ads. So the quick rundown is that I spent a total of $14,000 on ads to get to this net growth. And in the first month, I'm actually in the minus $2,000. So my current payback period is 1.117 months. Now, overall, though, I'm really extremely happy with this because you see my current monthly recurring revenue. Even at this scale, I do not have a cash flow problem. But with the current churn that I now know from the updated metrics, the lifetime value added to the business if churn stays the same after ad spend is $120,000, flowing back after the lifetime of a customer. So I'm super, super happy. And if you look at how my community has been or not been growing over the year where I was less consistent, also because I had more responsibilities. I still had my mastermind. I started to run ads for school. So I had a little bit of a scattered focus. You can see that the 30 days of consistency made a pretty big difference. So it made a clear difference in numbers. I'm super excited to be growing again, to have been able to net add. So we had 579 members, and the actual conversion rate from these members, I manually wrote it out, was 221 paying members so far from them. Here, according to the worst case, which is the school trial conversion rate, but the actual trial conversion rate from the real ones that I track manually, because school always takes it over the full month, and I think it has a little bit of a lag in here, is actually higher. So here you can see it's been 48.9%. So that means that it's been over 242 members added, which led to this growth. And the things that I learned from this challenge, what happens when you are consistent, is a few things. The first thing is that because you have the pre-commitment and you know what you need to do every single day, it takes out a lot of the guesswork and the mental back and forth around what you do, and it prevents you from falling into rabbit holes that don't pay into what's the actual focus in the business right now, right? So the pre-commitment of this is what needs to happen every single day took off a lot of pressure. It saved me a lot of mental capacity, and it made sure that the things that are actually moving the needle in my business, right, which is the traffic, it ensured that that is happening consistently. And if it would not, here also, let me show you the traffic. See how the traffic grew? So we started end of October with the challenge. So it made sure that there's a baseline of energy invested in needle moving tasks. Now, did I still fall down into rabbit holes of creation and doing things? Yes, absolutely. But what happened was that my frame of mind was already around traffic. So the rabbit holes that I fell into actually did also massively help with this. And because a lot of mental space was occupied with the pre-commitment and the rabbit holes that emerged from it, I had less room for doing things that are distraction and that didn't move the needle, because I literally had to ask myself, when do I make time for this? Because there was only so much time left in the day. So that was really, really powerful. Another really powerful aspect was the data. During the challenge, I realized that there was a drop in the trial conversion rate. And so I actually shared this as a behind the scenes. I was going in my head and I was thinking, okay, the only thing I really did when I changed this was that I stopped commenting under everybody's challenge updates. So I probably now have to set aside 1 to 2 hours a day to go back and to make sure I'm engaging with everyone's challenge update, because that's literally the only thing I changed, right? So I was so convinced in my head that that was the only thing that I ever changed. Until, because now I had the track of it, I went back to the days when people joined that were the days of the lower trial conversion rate, right? And so I opened up the days and I was like, okay, what actually happened on these days? And I realized I did comment on these days. So that can actually not be it. What else did I do on that day? Well, I launched this YouTube video, I made this post. Okay, no, I also cannot see why that would lower the trial conversion rate. I also launched new ads. Wait a second, there was a new winning ad on that day. Oh, it spoke to people that are pre-school launch, and obviously they might be overwhelmed with the challenge. So I need to create supplementary resources for them to stay. And that's literally, thank you so much for joining us, when I created the brand kit, right? And it almost instantly helped with the trial conversion rate. So, second biggest takeaway from doing something consistently for 30 days is, despite the saved mental capacity, the pre-commitment, and the focus, and the reduced time for anything that doesn't pay into the things that move the needle, was that I now actually have the very accurate day by day data. What did I do to grow my business? And when numbers fall out of line or goal, I can now really spot what I did and I can reverse or adjust that, right? Without this data, because I was convinced that this is what I changed, I would have not known this. And I would right now be spending 2 hours a day commenting under posts, which would equate to absolutely nothing. And I don't even want to think about the amount of times that I've probably been doing this in my business. So just having the data itself and being able to make data-driven decisions is an absolute game changer. And then the third thing that I noticed, third biggest takeaway, is that you start to like what you consistently do. So in the beginning, I didn't love the idea of having to check in and every single day, right? And to basically clock in. And then at the end of the first 28 days, which was the first run of the challenge, well, first off, people were reaching out to me already a couple days before. They were like, what are we doing? Are we continuing? Will there be another round? I don't want to stop right now. And then I also had that feeling. I was like, I don't want to stop right now. Like, it will be terrible. I don't want to go back to where I've been before. I want to keep this up because now I'm having all of this momentum and I have all of these results and I have this habit now. I actually don't want to drop it. Something about me not filling in this tracker and not resetting my focus every day to this just feels so wrong. So I also learned that we don't like specific things or dislike specific things. It's like the more we do something, the more we familiarize ourselves with it, the more we start liking it and seeking it out and craving it. So for me, that was huge as well, to understand that in the beginning I had so much resistance towards it, and now I have so much joy doing it. And it's probably true for everything I do and touch and want to change in my business. So even now, do this in the sense of nutrition and getting my steps in, etc. Just tracking every single day, and seeing, what is the point when I actually start liking it and when I will miss not doing this and tracking it. Right, so this is how the challenge was going. Can just highly recommend it to everyone. I think the key is to not make it too complicated and to allow yourself choice within the things that you do. So when I started out, I basically did all of the things, right? So here was my hypothesis about these are all of the tasks that move the needle on the traffic. And in the beginning, you can see I did all of them, right? So I just distributed throughout the day. And then as you can see, as it was going further along, I pretty much just zoomed in on ads because I was like, this is what comes most natural to me, most easy, what feels most sustainable, and where I have the biggest lever overall. And so what I would recommend for you as well is don't pick too many tasks. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potential actions here. But within those potential actions, I can choose what I want to do when it comes to moving myself closer towards the goal on any given day. And I really loved having this choice, and I really loved being able to find my way of doing it consistently that didn't feel like I'm failing, right? Because I felt like, oh, I have to check all the boxes. This is why I actually designed it in this way, that you get the green box if you just show up and check in on your core KPIs. And actually, let me just see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's 7 tasks, right? But as long as you check in on your numbers, you recommit and you do one thing, you're good. You get a green box. And then you can track the other ones where you can see what's your overall score. So you have gamification in doing more, but it's good enough if you do one thing that moves you towards your goal. And I once read this concept of the no 0 days, right? So living a life where you don't let a single day pass, where you don't do anything that pays into your goals. And I really love this because I can see how you're just in a different mindset, and this small, tiny action you do towards your goal is like a keystone habit, and it kicks you back into just thinking about your goals and taking more of the right actions consistently, and that compounds. Right. So that worked out pretty well, and I'm really glad that I did the challenge, and I will continue doing it, and I will roll it out across multiple offers and across multiple areas of my life.